Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Marketing Corner. We are now on episode 42. 42. What a wonderful, ripe number.
Yeah.
42. It sounds young and vibrant. Right, Casper? Right, Casper? Right, Casper? Spot on. Hi, everyone.
Hey,
How's it going? Thanks for coming. How's things?
Good. Things are good. Things are good.
Since the last time I asked.
Yeah, things are good. I'm excited about this topic we're gonna talk about. It's one of those where I've changed my mind over time.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
Which doesn't happen that often.
No, it does not.
It actually does. So people please.
Yeah, no, he's pretty good.
But that's always interesting when you can go back and say like, okay, I have a different stance than I did back in the day.
Yep. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about followers on social platforms as a vanity metric.
Yes.
Question.
Big question mark.
Yeah. So to kick it off, what do you think, Jen? Do you think followers on, let's say, LinkedIn for personal profile or company profile, is that a vanity metric?
I do not believe it is a vanity metric, but I think it needs to be taken with a pinch of salt because it can be prospects or it can be job seekers.
Yes.
And but I would rather have more followers than less.
Yes.
And I love tracking. Actually, we had a big celebration today. We broke 6,000 followers in a very short amount of time since we started investing more heavily in social. Shout out to Maka, social media specialist, has really helped the velocity of our followers, which is wonderful. And for us, we see that organic social is one of our top channels in terms of generating MQLs.
Yeah.
So for us, the more followers we have, that's free advertising. That's a free lead pool, if you'll say, for us to pick from and get our content out there free.
Yeah.
So for me, it is definitely something that I value, but I wouldn't put it up there with traffic to a pricing page.
And I think I share that sentiment. So if we take a step back, personally, so I was very harsh on followers back, and I think that's because I came from an era of Facebook followers.
Yes,
where Facebook followers were borderline useless, and I will go as far as to say it still is. Like, people who follow you on Facebook, does it matter if you're a personality? It matters. If your company page, dog shit. Like, still dog shit. It's still worthless.
Why?
Because your traction is still peanuts.
Yeah.
So the amount of effort you would put into gaining followers on Facebook is not worth your time. That's at least still my stance.
Mm-hmm.
Where I have changed is followers on LinkedIn and Twitter.
Okay.
Let's start with LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes for both company pages and for personal. And the reason I've seen it, so personal, I've kind of always believed, but I didn't have a platform 5 years ago when I had an opinion on this, or maybe something similar. But I do it today. I have 7,500 followers as of right now. And
yeah, I know. I know. Like, how am I doing with Casper? How much? No, he's still. I've got like 4,200 or something.
Look at you there.
Come on, follow me. What the hell, you guys? 42 episodes of this shit and you're not following me? God, what gives? Give a little back.
Then you have dirty rock stars like Laura from Dream Day who gain like 10,000 in 2 months or something. It was like, whatever.
My lead gen topic, the lead gen post I did on Popular Opinion Alert, 255 followers in a day.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
more of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, back on track. So, but what I've seen personally after starting Sportforce, and I know was a thing before, is that wow, it has a huge impact, right? Like the amount of the people who've been following me are not people I necessarily engaged with. And the simple version is always to be like, hey, would you rather have someone with 0 followers or 10,000 followers? I'd rather be the one with 10,000 followers. So it does matter, and I think it matters more than I gave credit for in the past. Because I've seen what it can do. Like, I've closed, I think I have 12 clients now as of this moment, early February. And all of them, every single one of them, like some of them were friends, but every single one of them is because of what I've done on LinkedIn. Every single one of them. And that's because of generated followers over time. And these followers now I can use for for other things we talked about in the previous episode for Marketing Corner. Well, you guys listening, we want to build a community. Well, that's how you can translate it. Because like as it is, 7,500 followers is not monetizable per se, but I can go out and push stuff. Like I can literally go out when I organically promote a webinar. Like we promoted a webinar in United FinTech, and half the fucking signups came from my posts, my personal posts. And I'm not a derivatives expert, right? So
What?
Hashtag what up?
What?
But so I'm just seeing, and it's something like I'm starting also. It's funny because like I always knew these things, but never like translated into value as much. It's something you carry with you. Like when I joined United FinTech, like I brought back then, let's say 5,000 followers, right? And suddenly they had an asset in me as an employee that would generate half their signups for a fucking webinar.
Yeah.
Right? And now I bring it into Sparkforce. Imagine, now I start Sparkforce, and of course it's my company, so it's a little bit, but still, I also brought in 12 clients because of the followers I have. But let's say 10 of them came because of the followers. That's a huge amount. It's a huge amount of business.
Yeah.
And that's directly attributable to having followers on LinkedIn.
Yep.
So it does matter, and it has what is the number of like, when is it valuable? One thing I've heard a lot of people talk about is once you get to 10,000, it becomes really fun.
Yeah.
That's when you hit a threshold where it's like, okay, now you actually have a pretty big voice.
Yeah.
So that's, of course, I'm not gonna lie, that's what I'm aiming at.
Aiming for, yeah.
And I can already hear the critics in the background saying, but is it relevant followers? Yes. And yes, I get you. Like, it has to be relevant followers.
But you know what? And this is what I'll say to those people. One, calm down. Calm down. It doesn't affect your life in any way.
Recording here on Tuesday afternoon. Calm your titties.
Yeah, calm your titties. Anyway, okay, maybe those followers might not buy from you, but that social proof builds trust and builds loyalty and builds you as an expert. If you had 2,000 followers and you're pitching to someone and you're like, hey, my price tag is this, and they're like, you what? But if you have 10,000 followers, all of a sudden it's like, okay, you're legit. Yeah. So even if those followers are not relevant, in quotes, that clout that is built by having a big following. Actually, this conversation is very timely. Just so you guys know, this was Casper's idea, but actually today I ran a social selling course for my Anamundo team. Everyone at Anamundo, we did a how to build a presence on LinkedIn.
Sweet.
With building your personal brand. And one of the questions that someone said, very valid question. He said, if you see someone has requested to connect with you and they are in no way relevant to you whatsoever, do you connect with them? Me? Hell yes. And then someone said, what about but then their information's in your feed. Don't care. Give me the followers.
And the good thing about it and the LinkedIn algorithm, if you don't like their content, just tell LinkedIn you don't like their content.
Yeah, just mute them.
See it again.
Just mute them. Job done. And then or unfollow.
I don't want to see more of their content.
Yeah.
So yeah, I clicked that yes button.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I do the same. I mean, it's interesting because I was trying to explain to the people here, like, why should you do social selling? It's not just for sales. And a lot of what we talk about is, just because I don't talk about IoT, that's not my area of expertise at all. But just by having my following, I am building trust in my company because they, if someone's thinking of buying or someone follows me and they're like, oh, she works here, these guys must have their shit together.
I totally buy into that. I totally agree. And that's one of the selling points I usually go. So I did a social selling course for a company here 2 weeks ago or something. Mm-hmm. And they were like, they had nothing. Employees were not the best on LinkedIn, let's put it that way. And that's fine. Like, they got to start somewhere. But after they were all super regenerated, they were really, really ready to go get it. But they were like, how do we, first of all, they were like, how to get started and why should we do this? And why should we do this? And I'm like, it's one thing is doing it for your company, right? So you build trust in your company. Suddenly people see you and like, hey, Jen's super cool. Maybe the rest of the company is super cool. I want to work there, or I want to do business with these guys because Jen is super cool. She would only work for a cool product. Exactly.
I'm gonna get that soundbite. Jen is super cool.
Yeah, take that. Snip it.
Snip it, Raph. Snip it. Yeah.
But and that's why you do it, right? And then you also like you build an asset, and I think that's the thing. Yeah. I've always known this, but it's just like I'm been a little bit harsh on this maybe in the past, but it's really powerful. Mm-hmm. Like and you have one thing I didn't connect in the past, like you can convert it. Like you can convert your followers. Twitter is a great example of people who gain 150,000 followers on Twitter and then they convert it into a Discord or Slack community. A lot of people have seen create these like Patreon communities. Let people create OnlyFans. Like, right? But that's just another way to monetize your followers.
Yeah.
And I think actually, just speaking of OnlyFans, just for a short notice here, but I think that's a great example of taking your followers and monetizing it. That's a perfect example.
It's literally what it is. It's like, yeah. You want to see my tits?
Yeah,
it's some money.
But you have these, like, people who already know you, who are following you. Let's say Pornhub, there's 1 million people following you on Pornhub. Then you make an OnlyFans and only 10,000 subscribers. But those 10,000, they're worth a shit ton.
Yeah, they're paying
$5 a month or something.
Yeah.
Like suddenly you're generating 50,000 for.
But there's two, just to move it slightly away from porn, if I may.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Slide mishap.
There's two different things we're talking about, I think, here, right?
Yeah.
There's company followers and individual followers.
Yes.
Which, is there a difference? What do you think? If you had a choice between investing in your people having more followers or your company having more followers, what would you do?
Is that no? But I would always invest in people. I was about to say, are you asking Casper business owner or Casper marketing head of marketing?
Casper marketing guy.
No, but actually the answer to both is I would always invest in people. I know it's a bit more risky, and that's what people are going to say because those people might leave. But that's the name of the game.
And if you think about it from a reach perspective, the algorithm favors individuals over company pages. So if you can get individuals promoting your stuff and your content, that's going to higher it.
My social selling slides, and one of the things I always started to talk about a lot is that the difference between following companies and following people. Like if take Richard Branson, founder of Virgin, like I think he has 5 times as many followers as Virgin. Virgin's a huge company. Same with Bill Gates. 1 million more followers, right? Like millions more followers than Microsoft, one of the biggest companies in the world. Take Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the perfect example of what you can actually do with a following, good or bad. But people follow other people. They don't follow companies.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because I don't find companies' content interesting, but the people, I'm more likely going to give it my eyeball, and that's why the LinkedIn algorithm favors people over company pages. So one of the things we're talking about is giving our content to our people and having our people put it up rather than coming from Monomondo.
Yes, and that's what you should do, right?
Yeah.
You should find a way to make your people your asset, right? Does that mean you, like, I build, but I also think like company pages, let's just take that as an example. The reason you're building followers for your company page is not the same, like, for at least for the cases I have had, it's not a lead generator. Like, this is not where you generate your leads. Like, it's a very inefficient way to do it, at least in my opinion. It's where you build employer branding. So many people trust you and they want to work for you. So it's really good for people who work there or want to work there. And it's really good for investors, investor relationships. It's really good for customers to get to see it. So there's a lot of these things that you're building, right? But I don't I've never had really like massive success with like using it as a lead generator.
See, for us, as I said earlier, it's actually one of our top 5, but that's also because we put events, webinars, we promote.
But you put that under the same category?
We put that in our organic social. We share. So organic social is the driver, maybe not necessarily followers, and it's hard to kind of cross-reference, is this a follower or not? But we're using organic social and our reach to promote things like webinars and content and things like that. So in that sense, it works well for us.
We can make it work, right?
Yeah.
I think, and that's also because you guys are attributing these things from organic social.
Yes. But we can't see, is this a follower? So that's that blind spot that we have. But obviously, the more followers we have, the more clout we have, the more people are willing to sign up for a webinar if it looks like, we know what we're talking about. It's never a bad thing.
It's not to say that this is not your primary metric. I don't want it to be that. I don't think it should be that. But it's not a bad metric, like anymore at least. I don't think so. Especially on the relevant platforms. On Facebook, fuck off. But on LinkedIn and Twitter, I think Twitter for company pages is a little bit aware. But I think LinkedIn, both personal and company pages, I think it's worth investing in.
I think it's funny in general, like this idea of vanity metrics. Like it depends, of course, of the context. And I would never hang my hat and go, we've increased followers by this much, so that means we're contributing to MRR. But I think any kind of engagements you can get are a good thing. It's just how much weight you put on them in terms of attributing it to MRR or ARR or revenue or whatever. I think that's where the vanity comes in. But getting a lot of traffic to a website is still a good thing. Getting people to click on something is still a good thing. And I think it's an interesting concept, this idea of vanity metrics. Like, that doesn't really mean anything. That doesn't really count. I think it all counts. It builds a picture. For marketing is like a big jigsaw puzzle, right? And every piece builds the picture. It's just how important you make that piece.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And I think, but I also think it's like, the reason I've been using the term vanity metrics a lot is my problem has always been that people use it as the first metric. Yeah. So if I come ask you how's marketing going on the Mundo, and you go, we've grown our followers to our company page by 100%. I'm like,
cool, but
doesn't tell me anything really. Like,
no,
it's not bad. Like, it doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't really tell me much, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you say, hey, we've grown our pipeline sourced by marketing by 100%, I'd be like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that's where the word vanity comes in.
Yeah.
You hang your hat on that and go, we're doing well.
Yes.
But we could then go, our investment in organic is helping us reduce our CAC. Yes. And we've seen our CAC reduced by 47% because, so there...
It can't stand alone.
There's a way to weave it.
There's a way to weave it. But it's not insignificant. It matters, but it can't stand alone. And it shouldn't be your all-in-one metric. Like, it's very rare that I would say, like, hey, your North Star metric should be how many followers you have.
Yeah. No. That might be interesting if you're, going out on your own and you're, building a following and you're going into a consulting kind of field. Then, yeah, I would say actually building a follower would probably be one of the first things you try to do, right?
Just for reference, if you're listening to this and looking for a job, like, I'm not going to lie, one of the first things I look at when I get job applications, and I get a lot more than you'd think, is I look at people's presence, social.
Yeah.
If you're working with marketing and you don't have a presence on social, fair enough. If you just got started, like this is your first job, I understand it can be hard. But if you've been in the job market for 10 years and you don't have a social presence, you better have a really good excuse for not doing
it. Yep. Absolutely agree. I do the same thing, again, for marketing positions.
Yeah.
For marketing positions, I check your LinkedIn.
I do my accountant too. I have social presence, but she does.
Good for her. But yeah, I definitely look at the followers. I look at the posts. I see, and I brought it up in interviews. I saw you posted about this. This was really interesting. I've also seen people I definitely did not hire after reading some of their tweets on Twitter. I've seen like stuff that I'm like, that's really offensive. That, so that's the other side of it is don't be a dick. Because we look at everything.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's right. But isn't like it's an old question or old saying, right? Like, if you can't do marketing for yourself, how should I expect you to do marketing for me or for the company? Mm-hmm. It's that simple.
Yeah, and we're trying to actively encourage everyone to be a little bit more active on LinkedIn. And the thing I think that, and this goes to social selling, but you don't have to talk about your company. No. You don't have to talk about what pays your salary. Talk about what you're passionate about, because it's work. Yeah. If you want to build a personal brand, if you want to gain followers, it's an investment of your time. And I'd rather do it about something that I'm passionate about. It is 7:30 at night. We are both in the office in a studio that's hot as hell, and our wives are at home, our kids are at home, and we're here talking, and we're here talking about fucking marketing because we love talking about marketing. Yes. So it has to be something that you're passionate about, because that's going to shine through, and it has to provide value, and that's how you're going to build your base.
So spot on. Yeah. Right. Like, and I keep saying that whenever I teach people, you have to be authentic. Like, it has to be you. Like, you can't, and nobody talks about their company all the time. Like, you don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. That's not you. My thesis is simple. Give 90% of the time, then you can take the last 10%. Because, mm-hmm. Like, if you talk about your company 90% of the time, like, I don't give a shit. I want to hear about you.
Yeah.
What's moving you, right?
Yeah, what do you
think? That's like, when I work, right now, Sparkforce and I kind of like a unit right now, but I try not to talk too much about Sparkforce. I talk about all the other things, right? Man, we are talking about events I'm talking about, talk about marketing quarter episodes, we'll talk about what's moving in the market, tools and stuff. And then once in a while, like, hey, by the way, guys, I have this cool webinar, or hey, you should check this out that I made, or something where I want something from my audience. And it's so much easier to ask for if you give them so much.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it's, the more you can be authentic, we talk about this all the time, but it's definitely providing value is the key. The key is to provide value to people. If you're just, and this is one of the steps I talked about in building your personal brand, it is not an excuse to shamelessly promote yourself or your company. You have to give yourself, you have to give value, you have to give insight. And that's one of the things we hope we're doing with Marketing Corner is providing value and insights and cutting through the noise of all the theories and all the trends and actually getting down to brass tacks.
When we ask you guys to join our community or buy our merch, we will let you know.
We're going to have really cool merch.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Merch today, by the way, it's coming soon.
It's coming soon. Throw us a bone. Yeah. But I guess this is a bit of a short one. We've hit the 20-minute mark, but I think that's fine. We just wanted to get our thoughts about vanity metrics and followers.
Conclusion, I'm both of us don't think it's a vanity metric per se anymore, if we can even use that term. But it's something that actually matters. Does it matter as much as revenue? No, but it does matter.
Yep. And what would be wonderful someday, Dream Data or whoever, if you guys can find a way to attribute followers to revenue, game changer. But until that time, it's still important to have, because not only, maybe it won't be people becoming customers, but that clout is going to get you customers.
Absolutely.
Yep. 100%. Wonderful. All right.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
We're going to go home.
Okay. Sleep.
Time for separate homes. We have to emphasize we are not actually married. Separate homes.
Buy houses next to each other.
We should.
Podcasting is so much easier.
That would be really, really convenient, actually.
Anyways, thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.